girl's limbs are tied up by the men. They are preparing to perform an organ harvesting operation on the girl. This is the organ trade in Burma. The girl is a commodity in the organ trade. The girl believed the stranger's words and thought she could make money with him, but she fell into the hands of evil men. She'll be subjected to a horrendous process that she can't resist, even if all her organs are taken away. A few days ago, Lily, a poor person with a dream of making money and getting rich, Saturday alone on a bus to Myanmar. She envisioned a dream of earning more than $10,000 a month, and she was already excited. However, the society is too complicated, and the bad guys' disguises are too good. Unsuspecting Lily was compelled by a man to get on a black bus. She drank a stranger's drink and instantly lost consciousness. The fate that awaited her was absolutely horrific. I can't imagine her being thrown on the bed without a fight. The men roughly tied up her limbs and conveniently took a video of Lily's nudity, which was then put up for sale on the dark web. The biggest human trafficking ring in Southeast Asia was born. It's all about dehumanization. All the girls in captivity, about to be sold all over the world. A local tycoon, Jack, arrived. They brought Lily to the scene. Jack quickly fell in love with the girl and was about to hand over the money. What he didn't expect was a pistol pointed at the back of his head. The seller made a shocking statement that the rule of the trade was to inspect the goods on the spot, and then rudely dumped Lily on the couch. Jack, who had his mind made up, agreed to this request with great alacrity. He undid his belt as if it were a trick. In a flash, the belt was like a lightning bolt, a secret weapon for attacking the enemy. Jack easily overpowered the seller's men with no effort at all. Jack's real identity is not a rich man. He is an undercover agent of Interpol who has infiltrated into the human traffickers group, and his mission is to collect incriminating evidence and then eliminate the group in one fell swoop. Looking at Jack's superpower, he was able to fight against 100 men. The seller started to flinch and piss himself on the spot. Jack started to interrogate him. The seller was suspended in the air on the 18th floor. Jack asked for the whereabouts of the other abducted girls. The seller was so scared that he had no choice but to tell the truth. He had no mercy for such a devil. Jack let go and sent him to hell. Then the news reached Interpol. They launched a tight deployment. John, who was unaware of the situation, arrived at the harbor. Container ships from Southeast Asia were arriving, but what they couldn't predict was the stench of something so foul. It was unimaginable. The container was holding countless trafficked girls. Unexpectedly, none of the girls were alive. The scene before us is shocking because of the lack of oxygen in the closed container. 100 girls were killed. They fell into the hands of the traffickers for the so-called dream of getting rich, and their final destiny was to lose both their money and their possessions. John, the leader of the traffickers, is getting angry. After losing such a big deal, he shot the transportation manager. The sound of the gunshot alerted all the police officers, and the battle started right away. Both sides started to kill each other. It only took the veteran officers 5 minutes to kill all of John's men. John's youngest son rushed out without hesitation to cover his father. Henry, who was the police chief, shot him dead. Despite John's grief, he could not escape from the law, but Henry's action brought his family down with him. But the rich John was soon released on bail and acquitted. He vowed to avenge his youngest son's death. At night, Henry prepared to have sex with his wife. John's men fired a missile into their room. After an explosion, Henry and his family were seriously injured, but the other side decided to wipe them out. Unarmed, Henry could only watch as his wife was killed on the spot. To protect his daughter, he was shot in the back. Henry woke up in the hospital and learned that his wife and daughter had been killed. She was devastated. Unable to contain himself any longer, he escaped from the hospital when no one was looking and went home to get his weapon collection. When he arrived at John's bar, he attacked them without saying a word and soon found out where John was. It turns out that John is hiding out in another bar. Henry then drops a bomb, reducing the restaurant to ashes. At the same time, Henry became a wanted man by the police. The next day, Henry's colleague, Tom, asked Jack of the Thai police to assist in the investigation. Henry had just arrived at the airport. Jack and his men targeted the target and started to arrest him. Tom took advantage of the absence of people to assassinate Jack's colleague, and then injured his left arm, and then threw his pistol to Henry. Henry, who was unprepared, had already fallen into the other side's trap. Jack was alarmed by the gunshots and was saddened to find his colleague dead. Under Tom's framing, Jack decides to avenge his colleague's death. Henry, who is very agile, quickly escaped to the overpass and jumped onto the truck. Jack did not give up, followed closely, aiming at the other party to pull the trigger. The driver of the truck brakes sharply. Henry was thrown out of the truck by the violent shaking. Henry had no choice but to get on his battery-operated bike and crash through the streets with his skillful driving. Jack is like the Flash, and eventually Henry is cornered. He rushed towards Jack. Jack didn't flinch and bravely pounced on Henry. Both men fell to the ground, and soon they were fighting. They were both equally strong, and the fight was a no-win situation. Then Henry used all his strength and threw Jack to the window of the car. Then Henry grabbed the car and fled in style. At night, Henry went to the designated bar. Under torture, he soon found out where John was hiding. Henry would not be lenient to such a villain. Jack rushed over, and without hesitation, he raised his pistol and started shooting. Henry ran away immediately. He fled to the underground warehouse and used the warehouseman as a hostage to blackmail Jack. But too many explanations seemed so fragile. At that moment, someone pulls down the gate, and Jack takes this opportunity to attack him. Henry couldn't fight back. Jack's got a nice knee to the head. Henry picked up a pistol as he was being knocked over. They shot the gate and fled. Suspicious Jack went back to the bar and searched the security video to find out the truth. It turns out that Henry was the one who was framed. Soon after, Henry came to the warehouse and saw the girl in custody. He was instantly enraged. Northern Burma is a nightmare for girls. Trafficking syndicates run amok for money. Young girls are trafficked and kept in cages like animals. The girls' hearts are filled with fear as she watched the heartless crimes of the traffickers. Henry couldn't take it anymore and stepped forward, but his gun fell to the ground. The girl picked up the pistol and pulled the trigger with her trembling hand. This shot alerted the traffickers. John's second son immediately dispatched his men. Henry was no longer silent. He picked up the machine gun and fired wildly at the other side. With such strong firepower, John's second son had no choice but to take the opportunity to escape and met John's eldest son outside the door. However, his elder brother did not come to save him, but was sent by his father to kill him and hide him from the public. Due to the large number of opponents, Henry was soon unable to fight, and his right leg was hit by the opponents and was injured. Luckily, Jack came to the rescue and saved Henry's life. Henry found out the whereabouts of John from John's second son. Jack aims his gun at him. Henry reiterates that Tom is the real culprit. The emotional Jack has trouble recognizing right from wrong. Tom realizes that he is about to be exposed and starts shooting at Jack. Henry reacts in time and pushes Jack out of the way, saving his life. Then Jack rushed forward and a fierce fight began. Maybe Tom's hiding is too deep, but his fighting power is also superb. 3 punches and 2 kicks make Jack unable to fight. After a fierce exchange of blows, Jack seized his opponent's weakness, using a fast trotting top knee, a move that made Tom crash into the glass. Tom's throat was ruptured and he died instantly. The two then freed the girl and drove to Koh Samui. They quickly took out John's boys and saved their only informant, Mary. Henry took up a bazooka and aimed it at John's convoy and unceremoniously leveled it with a single shot. With the two of them working together, they soon rendered the other party powerless. The oldest son sees the situation and decides to cover his father's escape. John kissed his oldest son and quickly escaped to the helicopter. Henry shoots at the helicopter and the pilot is shot several times. The helicopter lost control and began to fall, then hit the ground. Just as Henry was catching up with the helicopter, John took advantage of the situation and stabbed Henry in the abdomen with his dagger. No one can stop him from taking revenge. He pulled out the knife and killed him instantly and finally got his revenge. At that moment, his eldest son took Mary as a hostage. Maybe it's telepathy. When Jack dropped the pistol, Mary pushed it away. Jack quickly rushed forward and all his anger turned into power. As a Washington T officers, he quickly knocked down the opponent. This is the 2014 American action movie, Skin Trade. Human traffickers lure girls to Myanmar and sell them as commodities. Thai's Washington T officers pretend to be buyers to infiltrate the enemy and gather evidence to eliminate them. An American cop kills the young son of a trafficker's boss in a manhunt, only to be attacked by the trafficker's man and have his family murdered. He decided to find the trafficker to avenge his family, but was wanted by the police. A colleague shot a police officer and framed the man for the murder. The man was hunted by the Thai police. In the end, the two of them realized the truth and kill the traffickers and rescue all the trapped girls. This story tells us that you should never trust the words of strangers or water handed to you by strangers, or you are likely to be trafficked around the world as a commodity. I am BullDog Movie. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.